but he doesn't quite have the dashes. And when you don't have those, things like the Gangplank ultimate can be a massive hindrance. And you can see range is the name of the game here for Rogue. You have Azir with a lot of long-range poke, you have Ezreal with a lot of long-range poke, and then you have the Gangplank ultimate on top of that. A lot of zone control when it comes to setting up around these objectives. Whereas MAD Lions right now is all about getting in your face, forcing those engages. So I wouldn't actually be surprised to see an Ornn banned away from the side of Rogue. And I think the Renata ban here is very smart for MAD Lions because they're very much on the bandwagon of we want to start fights, we want to get in your face, and removing, and Renata is a very good champion at dissuading them.
That's the reason the Braum ban is there as well. Very good at disengaging. Not too many champions left that can do that. Janna is something that always springs to mind when you talk about disengaging the support role, and Trymbi very well known for his Enchanter play. Gwen and Jace taken away from the top lane, so MAD Lions can still look to the Ornn if they want, but that gives Gangplank a much freer lane up towards that top side, means that he can just farm up and become that late game monster that he often is. Here, MAD Lions looking for their final ban. Could still go towards the support. Could look to get rid of a jungler as well if they wanted Malrang just to be a little bit deeper into his pool. But things like the Viego still available for him if he wants it. Could go for the Jarvan as well, something that gives you a little bit more gank threat.
Well, I will say right now that's what Rogue is lacking, a reliable form of engage. If they go for Lux here, this would actually give Rogue a pretty powerful bot lane 2 versus 2, a lot of range at your disposal. It would tie in already with a lot of the poke that Rogue have drafted for themselves, but this is where that engage will come from, off the back of Malrang on his Volibear. That last season, he was the jungler that made stuff happen in the early game. He played a lot more for his lanes. He was very proactive in the early game. He was very much about getting kills for his team. But the one thing I did want to mention in the second phase of bans was they focused on banning away top laners, but they didn't ban away mid, so Nisqy has kind of the pick of the litter here. He's choosing to go for the Zoe. Kind of off theme of the composition they've decided to draft for themselves, but in terms of the matchup does very well. One of the few champions that can actually outrange Azir. And then of course, Armut, very well known for his Gnar, not too surprising to see that one come out. Will be able to follow up, assuming he has the Mega Gnar alongside any engages that MAD Lions will have. But overall, you can see a pretty stock standard teamfight comp with a lot of crowd control and single target CC at their disposal. So overall, not too far from what we've been seeing from the MAD Lions so far this weekend.
And Rogue looking towards perhaps the Taric pick in the bottom lane.
I think this would be great.
It's so good in disengaging. And it looks like, instead it's Rakan. Okay, I was wondering about Rakan. The problem with Rakan in the laning phase here is into Nautilus is not the best, and into Draven it's not the best. Like, you get knocked to the side, you get hooked, it's very difficult for you to weave your magic, but later on it gives you follow-up engage alongside the Volibear, or even initial engage if you want to quickness and then flash forward looking for a pick.
Yeah, I think that if they'd gone for the Taric, then the problem with Rogue's comp is their engage is a little bit weaker. However, your disengage is even stronger. So every time MAD try to engage onto you, you have a lot of tools at your disposal. By going for the Rakan, you lean more towards, once the poke has landed, you have more ways to start off the fight. And I will say that Trymbi so far has had 2 Renata games. When we think of Trymbi as a player, sure, he's played a fair number of Enchanter supports, but I think he's most well known for his engage supports. It was champions like his Rakan, his Nautilus, his Elyoya that he was actually more well known for and actually has a lot more comfort on. So seeing him back on that is something that I think can help Rogue when they're trying to fight for their first win of the split.
It's currently sitting at 0-2 MAD on the other side of that coin. 2-0 so far. In the mid lane, we have a matchup between the most played of these two players. Nisqy sitting at 37 games on the zone. Let's go Odo, Sniffer. A few sniffers in the chat, I'm sure, as well.
For those that don't know, I don't know why.
Yeah, but it's an Odo spam. It's just an Odo spam. Let's get into the game. MAD versus Rogue.
You know, The Rock had that saying, "What's The Rock cooking?"
Can you smell what The Rock's cooking? Can you smell?
Is that what it is?
What The Rock is cooking, yeah.
So you could say the same thing for Odoamne.
Can you smell? Or can you sniffer?
Exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't really work.
Can you sniffer?
need the GIF. Otherwise, it's just us saying the word sniffer, which isn't even a word.
I don't even know what the GIF looks like.
It's like a little dog smelling.
Oh,
yeah.
I see. Right, well, I'm sure someone smarter than us will come up with some type of catchphrase that Odo can have. But yeah, he's a big... I was in his chat this morning and he was telling his chat to sniffer me, which, you know, I don't really know what that means, but it's an internet thing, I guess.
Yep, it's an Odo thing.
It's an Odo thing. in any case, a ward has been placed in the mid lane.
A few of them have been placed around.
Yep, I can bring up the minimap. We can highlight them. I suppose that is my job. One in the river, one in the mid lane. That means that a sweeper has been picked up by Trymbi. Nothing too surprising, nothing too uncommon, mainly for a bit of information. Of course, one of the things that Wukong can do, and I'll bring the minimap back up once again, is he can start on this, and then he can use his little jump over the wall thing to go here, and then he can steal away the blue buff over here. So having that ward just gives you a little bit of insight in case this cheeky monkey is up to anything cheeky. But it looks like nothing too crazy is going to happen in this early game.
Right, Nisqy with the sleep onto Larssen gets a bit of extra damage, obviously amplified by that sleep. Nisqy winning the early trades, both of them going corrupting potions in this mid lane. Malrang has a control ward on that Volibear. You don't really need too much sustain from potions, so just going for a single pot control does make sense. Kaiser pushing forward here, hook's gonna land. Only onto Trymbi, and the Guardian will be enough just to keep him stacked up. Trymbi dashes back forward. And, it's a beneficial trade for Mad Lions in terms of total health, but Unforgiven was the one receiving the damage for Matt.
So last game, we saw what Ezreal Nami can do and how it has a lot of trading and poking power. This time round, you see what Ezreal can do when he has a Rakan in his lane, which is absolutely nothing.
Yeah, nothing at all.
So you just get bullied around. I'm not too surprised that already Unforgiven and Kaiser are able to get that push. And so they will be playing on the weak side of the map early on into the game. Odoamne on the Gangplank could be the strong side. Of course, the annoying thing about Gnar is early on especially, you do have that range advantage, and you can get easily kited as the Gangplank. So for the time being, he will be stacking up this wave. You can see that a slow push is starting to mount. With Malrang on his way, he's going to have to cover Odoamne as he looks to get that push down, especially with Elyoya hovering around the top side of the map. He has the level advantage for the time being. Gotta keep our eyes on these junglers. Hang on, a bit of trading in the bot lane.
Trymbi can dash back out of this. Didn't quite land the knock-up. Unforgiven with the extra movement speed from the Bloodlust. Was able to get away from that one. So Trymbi trying to just get a bit of damage down where he can. He knows that they're not going to win out the prolonged trades here. And with the wave pushing in, if you can chunk out that Draven, gives you a bit of an easier time. Elyoya and both the junglers on the top side of the map, but Elyoya through his clear quicker because he skipped the Crux. Means that he's able to get that top side Scuttle Crab.
So look, Malrang will likely spot this one out as he makes his way towards it. This both covers Odoamne on the dive. I say dive. Covers Odoamne for a potential gank, and it will give Malrang information. Okay, the whole top side's been cleared. This could indicate, of course, well, I mean, the expectation should be that because he did the top crab, Elyoya is now resetting and pathing back towards bot. He's actually looking for a gank in mid lane. Can we toggle the vision observers? I want to see what if Nisqy can see.
He definitely can now.
Yeah, he definitely can now. Yeah, I think that Malrang was just sitting outside the fog of war, and Nisqy recognized, hang on a minute, I could be ganked soon. Yeah. This is a very real gank timer, so I'm just going to disengage. But you'll notice Malrang going to path towards, make his way through mid, secure himself the bot crab. With the bot wave bouncing back towards the tower, it should be relatively safe for him to do this. And of course, Nisqy just basing as well gives him that added security. So nothing too crazy happening in the early game. Both junglers pretty even in farm. Larssen has a slight CS lead, and the bot lane dead even as well. So things going according to plan for both sides for now.
Only difference is obviously Elyoya has already had his reset down towards that bottom lane. Looks like Odoamne is reset and TP'd back up to top as well with the Sheen. Elyoya on a ward here. The wave pushing in. Larssen was trying to get this underneath the tower. Malrang can't really cover him. Larssen flashes away from the flash forward by Nisqy. Of course, Nisqy can then spell thief that flash. Have another one, but the wave will get underneath this tower, meaning that Larssen doesn't actually lose. Oh, will it get underneath the tower? Might be held just outside of it. Yep.
But I think it should be fine. Yeah, that's going to bounce back, I'm pretty sure. The range creeps are a little bit too low, so this should mount up a slow push. And he's going to TP back into the lane anyway. But good vision control all across the board when you look at it from what MAD do have. They have these 2 wards invested here. They also have control over the river and this 1 ward to the entrance, which means that Larssen should be pretty safe. And on top of that, this should keep Odoamne pretty safe. So all across the board, Rogue, stable early game. They have a slight gold lead, and by slight, I literally mean slight.
It's like less than 100
less
right
than
now.
100, which basically means that the game is dead even. Elyoya will be spotted out. I'm pretty sure that if he uses his W on that Gromp, he'll actually know that he's spotted out by a control ward. Because normally when you're invisible, it's highlighted to you when you have been spotted.
Sure. Probably won't use his W on the Gromp though.
Probably won't.
Doesn't need to. Takes it. They know Elyoya is there. Malrang spotted as well on this ward. Nisqy smart enough to realize this is happening. Trymbi was looking for a gank as well. Nisqy stepping forward here, has the paddle star. Also has that portal jumping knight stolen away from the minions. And
I love
Larssen
Zoe.
chunked
I
out.
hope she wins.
I hope Zoe wins. She gets 7 free summoner spells in lane.
Level 6 there. She just picked up an ignite, used it, and then Larssen, who had a clear health advantage, suddenly lower in health than Nisqy after he missed his E. Yeah, I love Zoe. Dragon going to be dropped as a result of that. Just like a really good trade in mids. They knew exactly where Malrang was. Unforgiven moves with his jungler to claim control over the river, and with the wave pushing in, Comp chooses to reset, but also Comp just can't fight this early on into the game. He's likely going to lose. You can see the BF sword already picked up for Unforgiven, means that he's just objectively stronger. Now Kaiser makes his way towards the mid lane. Malrang offering cover. This wave is in a bit of an awkward spot, but there's not really much Larssen can do about it, so he's likely going to be forced to base. Kaiser doing a good job of working with his jungler right now, knowing that Comp has already chosen to reset. Malrang's going to contest this though, doesn't have level 6, but Trymbi is here.
Larssen's coming as well, but Malrang's not going to be able to get there in time. Elyoya gets it. Hook going in, there's the sleep as well onto Malrang. Nisqy jumping across the wall, won't be knocked up, but the portal jump still takes you back, so he's fine. Nisqy having a very strong start to the season, and a pretty strong start to this game as well. So far unkilled. Only him and Armut, the only 2 players in the league who have yet to give a death to the enemy team.
I think what's crazy is that kill participation number you see. Typically, mid laners average around somewhere between 60 and 70% of kills. Normally, in the early game, when you look at KP at 15, for example, there are players like Caps who can be heavily involved in a lot of early game kills, which is just an indication that typically they work with their jungler to roam around and look for these picks. But what this suggests is that when kills happen, Nisqy is often very involved.
Yeah.
And when we contrast that to last split, I think this is one of the biggest upgrades that Nisqy brings to his team. When you think of him as a player, he's known for his rise, he's known for his twisted fate, and basically he's known for being active on the map. And he's a very aggressive player that likes to be involved with things. So with his addition and the way in which he's working with Elyoya already, I think we're seeing a very clear difference. And the other stat to keep an eye out there was the jungle proximity.
30% jungle proximity is really high.
Is a very strong indicator of how much he actually works with his jungler, how much time he typically spends with his jungler. So MAD Lions already showing dramatic growth in the short space of time with a single roster change.
Elyoya didn't ping that control ward as he went over it. Now, he may have seen it and he's just making a beeline for this Rift Herald because they have the prio because of the reset coming out from Kaiser. He's up towards this top side quicker, so may know that that control ward's there. He was pinged by Rogue, so they know that he's there as well. Comp trying to get some tower plates down towards this bottom side. Odoamne has already picked up 1 towards the top, and this is MAD just investing a lot to make sure that there is no contest at that Rift Herald. Comp, of course, with the TP, could have like teleported to the mid lane or something, the turret, but instead just stays down towards that bottom lane. Keeps Unforgiven underneath his tower, and MAD Lions are able to secure the Rift Herald. There are about 1,000 gold behind now, though. It's extended from a small advantage to a pretty sizable one here for Rogue.
Well, yeah, good stuff from MAD. Hard to criticize them, really. They've been able to control all the early game objectives. They've leveraged their prio very well, and Rogue have just kind of been chilling for the time being. Obviously, the strength of their composition is the range and the scaling. We talked a lot last game about how Ezreal can be such a menace in the late game, but you've got Azir, Ezreal, and really the only person that can match their range is this Zoe. So objectives are going to be really important, and Rogue are primarily looking to play the patient teamfight game. And I think it's fine for them to do that. I imagine the third Drake is when they'll look to get the most aggressive, and Malrang just doing what he did in the early game, covering Odoamne as he stacks his wave and looks to the push. Because you look at that topside river, you can see all this vision that's been invested in Elyoya already looking for the play. This is exactly why Malrang is here.
Armut going in, there's the Gnar back cannon barrage, and Armut immediately flashes, gets the stun onto Malrang, who gets a counter stun out. There's the cyclone from Elyoya. Odoamne looking for the trade damage here. Odo very strong right now, but Nisqy's the first one to react. Elyoya with the double cyclone. Odoamne does have the flash. Paddle Star going in as well. There's the stun, the sleep. 1-2 quick kills to MAD.
And it's just the mid diff. Nisqy is first on the rotation, and I think that Malrang does all the right things. They get a little bit flustered as to who to focus the moment that Armut flashes out, but the fact that Nisqy is able to join the fray as a fight happens at bot.
Knockup's going to come on to Comp here. Can jump away the Whirling Death, the flash forward. Trymbi with a great shield, just keeping Comp alive. That was so close.
But a great engage comes out from the MAD Lions bot lane. They're going to force the flash out from Comp. No TP means that he can only really run in that situation. MAD Lions being aggressive across the board, and Nisqy once again finds himself involved in the action. So you have a look here, and it's important to look at the mid lane. Look, Nisqy's already roaming. He pushes in that mid wave and he makes his way towards the top side of the map. The ultimate comes through from Elyoya, and at this point you can see Odoamne is a little bit split. He's like, what do we do? Do we disengage? Do we try and turn onto Elyoya? And Elyoya is just having his way with them. Good ultimate from him. The re-engage then comes through from Armut and Nisqy there to clean everything up. Of course, he doesn't secure any kills, but we talked about that kill participation stat.
100% so far this game.
Once again, Nisqy continues to get involved. Not going to result in a significant gold lead, but Mad Lions find themselves with first Herald, first Dragon, and first Blood.
And evens out the gold deficit that they were at. Second Dragon of the game coming up in 8 seconds' time. Elyoya is going to step towards it. Armut does have the TP. Odo doesn't have his. No cannon barrage for him either. Trymbi could look for something. It looks like Rogue just trying to gain control down towards this bottom side. Unforgiven playing very safe, very patiently. We'll see if he oversteps. That's a possibility. Trymbi stepping towards this tri-bush. Not warded for Mad. You can see Unforgiven.
In pro play, whenever you see that fog, you have to assume someone is in it. And Unforgiven doing a great job of respecting it.
Look at Nisqy again, man. The first to move.
I mean, he's getting that pro very quickly, and this is why when we talked about it in draft, Zoe typically does very well into Azir because you're one of the few champions that can challenge his range, and on top of that, your wave clear is just so fast. Look at how quickly she just eliminates the wave. Larssen doesn't even have a chance to clear a wolf before Nisqy's already cleared that one out. Gonna move with this jungler once again. We talked about that jungle proximity stat earlier. I've got to hold my point. There's Elyoya looking for a dive.
No
he's
flash on comp.
He's going to be forced to disengage. But this is where that high jungle proximity stat comes from. It's because Nisqy often leverages that pyro to group up with his jungler, and then they roam around the map together. And when you think back to the Mad Lion days of Humanoid, it was this mid-jungle support trio that often found a lot of success in the early to mid-game, and we're seeing it being replicated here by Nisqy. Huge props to him, huge props to the Mad Lions. That's another objective into their back pocket. As the timer drops as well, 12.5 minutes, 2 Drakes in the back pocket. They're going to drop the Herald before the timer runs out. Funnel more gold into Nisqy. Very little to criticize here from the Mad Lions. Rogue continuing to wait on that scaling by their time and hoping to leverage their range later on. It will be this next Drake where I expect them to look for a fight.
You can see Elyoya, the only one on Rogue really with a sizable gold, on Mad Lions, only one on Mad Lions with a sizable gold lead. Nisqy about 300, 400 gold ahead in the mid lane, equal on CS, but those plates definitely helping him out alongside those 2 assists. The bot lane, Unforgiven, has been able to equalize a CS deficit that he was in earlier. He's kind of been left to his own devices down towards that bottom lane a lot of the time. We did see it a lot actually when he joined Mad Lions. He was kind of just by his lonesome. It's like, okay, you guys roam around. He played the Karthus. And Kaiser was very much trying to team up with Elyoya. Here now, though, they seem to have a third prong to that trident, with Nisqy always being in the right place. Trymbi's going to have to pop the quickness here. Will jump away, but wasn't going to escape unless he used that ultimate. Smart play by Trymbi to realize that quickly, and good play by Mad Lions to catch him out.
I will say that it is a bit concerning when you draft a Draven and they don't really invest in the Draven lane. Typically, there's a champion that you want to be snowballing off the back of. And when you think later on into this game, it's only going to get harder for the Draven to play. He is not the longest range AD carry. We already talked about the Gangplank ultimate, but then like playing into Azir and Ezreal, their range is just so difficult for him. Sure, in a front-to-back style, he can deal a lot of damage, but ideally, Rogue's composition only wants to engage once they've landed that poke, and I think it's important to recognize that, sure, Rogue have been not doing anything in this early game. They've been conceding objectives, they've not really been trying to force kills. A lot of what Malrang's been doing is just covering for potential ganks, and I think that when you look at the goal difference, things are still pretty good for them. They're ahead in CS in pretty much all 3 lanes. The only goal difference exists in the jungle, which is a result of the farm and the Herald as well. So I think Rogue is still in a very good spot. It's not too dire for them for the time being, and they are just being patient. They recognize that their scaling is good, and it's going to come down to these team fights where the teams will really begin to separate themselves.
And that's why I like the fact that Mad Lions went for such quick dragon forces, because that means that Rogue, when they have to fight the 3rd dragon, which is when you tend to fight if you've given up the first 2, won't be as strong as they would have been if this first dragon was a 10-minute dragon or an 11-minute dragon. Because it was so early and we're now only 2 minutes away from the 3rd dragon of the game, Rogue are only going to be at perhaps an item and a half, or maybe 2 items at that point.
Yeah, for sure. And it will be a good window for Mad Lions to try and force this fight. But notice that Draven yet to complete his first major item.
He'll get there.
They will secure themselves the next Herald. And well, I will say also, Mad Siege is not the strongest either.
Yep.
They don't have an insane amount of utility. They're kind of relying on Nisqy to land poke, but fun fact, anyone that's ever tried to siege against an Azir knows that it's really anti-fun. And you kind of need these Heralds to break down that mid tower, and I want to see them invest it there so they can actually open up the map a little bit more, so they can contest towards space in the enemy jungle, and then if they can get that, then it becomes easier to play towards these side lane towers as well. As it will be Rogue to secure the first tower of the game.
And these guys are too respectful. Like, Rogue put 4 members down towards the bottom side. Odoamne is like, cool, I'm going to stand by the Crux for a little bit. Hi, guys, how you doing? Unforgiven backs away, knowing he's not there. Now, Odoamne perhaps not respectful enough in the top lane. Cannon barrage coming out, and Elyoya and Armut catch him out.
Was not expecting Elyoya to be in the brush. Odoamne gets caught off guard. Armut goes into the Mega Gnar, uses the ultimate immediately. Odoamne then insta-flashes, but it's not enough to get him to safety. Even with that, though, you can see Rogue still find themselves in the gold lead.
You can say Odoamne didn't sniffer that one out.
Okay. Yes, they will still keep the tower alive as well, which is a little bit surprising. The dragon spawned in about 45 seconds. But let's have a look back at this one. So Elyoya, bit of alcove gaming here. Armut gonna hold the wave so that it doesn't spot out the jungler sneaking his way in.
And you can see Odo's being really respectful, and then Tri-Bush is warded, River Bush is warded. He's like, cool, I can step up now.
There's no reason for him to really suspect this as well, you know. And he tries his best to, if he's going to get ganked in his head, he's like, I'm going to get stacked waved onto dive, and they're going to attack to the bottom. He wasn't quite expecting them to come through a lane gank. And also this Herald being used on bot lane, sure, it's a good cross map, gives them control over the third Drake of the game, which I guess is their priority, but this mid tower is still up and available, which will make sieging that much harder for the Mad Lions. Odoamne going to catch this wave in the bot side of the map, clear that out very quickly, get himself a plentiful bounty.
Rogue have given up the third dragon of the game by doing this, though. You can see Larssen down towards, up towards that top lane, doesn't have TP, no way for him to join this, so it will be 3 dragons to Mad, and it's an Infernal Soul as well. Like, it's not inconsequential. Something like a Cloud, perhaps you'd be more willing just to say, okay, we can't fight, but because they're not at those item spikes, maybe they decide against going for it, perhaps because Odo was caught and didn't have the cannon barrage as well. That big ultimate can be very impactful in the team fight. So now Mad Lions, 3 kills, 3 dragons, 18 minutes in. We're on a 23-minute soul clock. And for the rest of the game, Rogue have to look and wonder, can we deny that Infernal Soul?
This is actually really big. Props to Armut there, finding that window to secure that tower. Will equalize it, but also we talked so much about by taking down the mid tower, it gives you easier access into the enemy jungle, and I think that's super important, especially when we think about the dragon spawning in about 4.5 minutes. That will obviously be the objective that both of these teams are fighting for. Now the pressure really is on. The good news for Rogue is that Comp finds himself with 2 items completed. He has 150 gold bounty right now, and this Ezreal is going to start to be a menace. He's going to have a lot of damage at his disposal. Trymbi, though, going to be the one to face check. We'll be fine, though. Drops the ward in. That tower going to be the next objective for the Mad Lions. They should be able to secure this relatively uncontested. Larssen doesn't realize he's sitting on a ward right now. Now he'll figure it out.
If they wanted to stop this, they could have cannon barraged the wave. They decide against doing it, so perhaps didn't want to fully invest into it. Trymbi, though, walking straight into Elyoya, dashes away, but the paddle staff from Nisqy could come in, doesn't. Elyoya, though, still with a follow-up. The Cyclone going in. Trymbi dives onto Comp. Elyoya low. Malrang trying to get us Kaiser on the backline, but it's so split from Rogue. 4 different directions. Malrang now jumps forward, jumps back through the Gnar, dodges out. Nisqy going in, misses the true shot barrage there, and so Rogue just felt a little bit split on the call, and Mad Lions very willing to jump in and get another kill.
Yeah, they chose not to overcommit onto Elyoya as he now steals away this whole topside jungle, but you're quite right. Malrang joining the fray realized that it was going to be a while before the rest of his team could collapse. Let's have a quick look back at that before I continue to ramble on about it. So the tower drops, Larssen's catching the wave, Trymbi face checks, doesn't realize the jungler's there. Kaiser then tries to follow up, Lat misses the hook, the ultimate from Gangplank comes in. Then we see that Elyoya gets very low, but Comp doesn't have his E anymore, and he doesn't want to commit his flash, especially with Draven rotating from the mid lane. Malrang realizes it's in a 1v3, so chooses to ultimate away. But now with Odoamne and Larssen in a better position to fight, Malrang's like, well, I don't have anything left to re-engage, so I guess we have to disengage, and that then puts him in an awkward position to contest their topside jungle. So Mad end up getting away with murder there. They secure themselves a kill, they secure themselves some buffs, and they extend the gold lead ever so slightly.
It's part of the issue as well if Trymbi gets caught early on. If he's using all of his engage tools to disengage, well then you don't have any follow-up from our run going in. And Mad Lions 1,000 gold ahead, 2.5 minutes on the clock for the Infernal. And in these skirmishes, they're definitely coming out ahead right now. Comp, though, 2.5 items complete. Banshee's now complete on Larssen as well. He's very strong on this Azir, but you can't look past Nisqy with the Shadow Flame alongside that Luden's Unforgiven, still yet to complete his first major item, but he's on his way there. 544 adoration stacks on this man.
Bit of a Build-A-Bear there, isn't it? Slowly working his way towards a bit of everything. We'll see what he does decide to eventually complete. I hope he completes something ahead of the Drake spawning in 2 minutes. There it is. All right, so that will be his first item. The thing that concerns me about Larssen going for Banshees is I kind of understand why he's done it, but I feel like that he doesn't really need to.
Yeah.
I kind of would have preferred him to do a little bit more damage, but I guess, yeah, I feel like that they have so many tools to disengage that...
If you're getting hit by a bubble, can't you just slide away? That's kind of the thought there.
Yeah, I think that there are only two things that he's afraid of. Number one, Zoe Bubble. Number two, Kaiser's ultimate, right? I think that he's not too concerned about Gnar ultimate or whatever. But he's building out of respect to the potential of getting picked, which does mean that he's just going to have slightly less damage for the upcoming fight, which, like, going for the slightly more defensive approach, especially when your composition revolves so much around the range of both the Azir and Ezreal. Personally, I'm not a massive fan of. Not to say that the build doesn't make any sense at all, because obviously it does, but right now he's sitting in top lane. He's going to reset, spend the last bit of gold that he does have, has the TP up and available as the dance around this wave continues. Okay, mainly just using it for poke. He could have used that to help clear out this mid wave, which right now they don't have numbers on, which is going to give MAD easy access into the river. You can also see that they have the push in bot, so MAD now have full control. Azir now making his way down. Trymbi going to reset. Malrang being forced out of his jungle. The sleep's going to land.
Armut could chase this one in. They're trying to get the Stormbringer out if they can. There's the Everfrost, boomerang across the wall, whirling death. There's the Stormbringer. And now Malrang doesn't have an easy way to get into this pit with the dragon spawning in 20 seconds time.
I just think that Rogue have just been a little too greedy there. Like, Larssen needed to get that extra wave in top. They didn't contest the wave in bot. Now they have control over mid, but Nisqy leveraging his poke to force all that damage down onto Malrang is going to make accessing this river so difficult. Trymbi's going to be spotted out by Elyoya, and it's MAD with full control.
Trymbi was just looking for a really long flank there. Asking now, can we go? Bubble down, Larssen can step in. There's the quickness, looking for Unforgiven. Cannon Rush coming out as well, but Armut is keeping the rest of Rogue away. A two-man Gnar into the wall, and the dragon will go over to MAD Lions. Elyoya smites it, Infernal Soul for MAD at 23 minutes. Larssen sliding in, Kaiser flashing out. Only one kill over to Rogue. That's not enough. They're looking for more as Odo steps in, but Nisqy keeps them at bay.
Just so much better setup around the objective from MAD. We see them secure cleanly the first three Drakes of the game, and they take the fourth relatively uncontested. Yes, they lose Armut's life, but huge props to MAD, and Rogue kind of in shambles now out of desperation. They're trying to force this Baron. Nisqy will have the teleport, but he's not going to invest it. He's on his way back. The Baron has begun.
I mean, Elyoya can get behind them here as well without even being seen. They can jump in with a blast cone. Maybe he's been seen. I don't see the pings. They're pinging on the Baron. They're going for it, but Elyoya! Every single objective belongs to the MAD Lions and belongs to Elyoya. The Whirling Death coming in for the chase, but it's an Infernal Soul and a Baron at 24 minutes for the Lions.
Rogue are completely...
Oh! That's the execute from the Whirling Death!
Unforgiven will cash out to boot. A completed collector off the back of that. Crazy damage. But let's have a look at this one. Elyoya, I'm not sure if he actually gets... I think Trymbi does just spot him out there. But let's have a look at this smite. If we could get the slow-mo, please, observers. 1,000... Oh, smite. Was it? It was his smite, right? It was his smite.
I think it was his smite, yeah.
But a clean steal comes out from Elyoya. You called it, Melik. Every single objective. And then the Whirling Death. Just look at the damage. Malrang. Oh, 1,800 gold into his back pocket. MAD Lions have just... Wow. They have just taken absolutely everything away from Rogue. Rogue looking like a shadow of their former selves, as MAD Lions looking to go 3-0 in week one.
The shambolic week for Rogue continues. 0-3 to start off the LEC Summer. Obviously, they can still fight back in this game, but 5,000 gold behind with an Infernal Soul staring them down alongside that Baron for the next minute and a half. Kaiser's going to step in, spots Malrang with the Oracles. Tier 2 in the top lane is down. Odoamne trying to trade here onto Armut. Does win out on these ones. Armut trying to build up the Mega. Malrang coming in as well. Wallop goes short. Armut with a good Gnar though, and the follow-up is sublime. A Whirling Death from Unforgiven finds two. Larssen will be able to get one in response, but it's only the support.
And the sleep will land. Can Nisqy get the poke down? Not able to connect. But MAD Lions, they end up trading up with that. Here comes the Nisqy, misses everything.
And Trymbi can just jump on him. Oh, good flash from Nisqy just in time. Trymbi with the lock, he gets himself out. Nisqy will survive. True shot finds him though. It's the game of long-range ultimates finding kills.
Well, now Rogue's range is finally coming to fruition. 3 kills on the back of Comp, but perhaps it's too little too late. Mad Lions, they do still secure that mid-tier 2. They still have the Infernal Soul, remember. The Baron is still up and available. That's still going to last, what, another 30 seconds. 5k up off the back of that. But I can't really get over the fact that, like, Rogue, the early game, I'm not surprised that they weren't more proactive. With the draft that they had, it made sense to me that giving over the 3rd Drake was a little bit concerning, but okay, the 4th Drake, but we saw them not really set up for it. The engage was so scattered, so delayed, and then the force of the Baron, and the fact that it even got stolen away, just... When I think of Rogue from last split, and when I kind of think of Rogue as an organization, control, discipline, well execution, just setting up around objectives is kind of the hallmark of this team, and it feels like that they're just so scattered. This is not the same Rogue that we have so far seen from them this year.
And not the same Mad Lions that we saw in spring either. Armut looking for the chaser, onto Odoamne. Elyoya coming in as well. Odoamne, he's under his inhibitor tower, and Mad Lions will not give him an inch. Armut takes the kill alongside Elyoya. They'll now push down this top bot tier 2. Looking for the inhibitor tower. Larssen is not here. Does have the TP, but they're going to trade inhibitor for tier 2 now. It's some gold, it's a bounty, but is it enough? Is it beneficial for Rogue in the long run? That's the question. Mad Lions now retreating 5 players strong towards this bottom lane. Larssen continues to farm up. He's very strong on this Azir now, but we haven't really been able to see that Azir, the realized potential that is in this champ right now.
You can see a death cap being completed rather from Nisqy. I wonder, no, he doesn't quite have enough gold. He did just back, but damn. Unfortunately for Odoamne as well, I'm pretty sure he's yet to get a kill in the LEC. His death streak is only continuing to grow. He's had a difficult start to this play, along with Rogue, as Mad continue their dominance. Like, I think that everyone expected Nisqy to be an upgrade coming into Summer Split, but to see them with this level of control, execution, I think will surprise many. And I think that it's a warm welcome for many Mad Lions fans, falling 7th place last split, the 2-time LEC champions of last year, in looking in good form. And their mid-jungle support trio seems to be back together again, it feels.
And we see their setup around an objective once again. Deep vision, clear out all the river. Rogue can see nothing. The waves pushed in the bottom lane, there's super minions going in there. Rogue trying to get something in the mid lane, but Mad Lions are collapsing. Trymbi dashes back the Sun Disc there to give them a bit of extra safety. 18 seconds on the Elder. Double super minions pushing in that bot lane. Odoamne is going to have to answer them. Does have the cannon barrage, has the TP. Rogue. Last chance Saloon, you have to feel. Last hope for them as Armut goes forward. 6 seconds on the Elder. Nisqy continues to poke and prod his way from long distance. Elyoya goes in, clears out some vision. And Rogue, you just can't give up this Elder, my man. You can't do it. You gotta fight it. Elder started, fast out automation going in, but it's gone.
So fast.
The cannon barrage comes out. Unforgiven just tanks it with the Immortal Shieldbow, and the Dragon so low, smited section with a true shot barrage. Rogue perhaps have found a little bit of hope in this game. Comp stepping forward, Elyoya has to dash away. One Elder laser finds his mark. Rogue have got no dragons so far, but perhaps they've got the only one that mattered. Armut chased away, Comp going forward, there's 2. Unforgiven. Not able to do anything in the midst of 4 members of Rogue. The TP in the middle. No way do they do this. No way do Rogue do this.
Rogue have found 3 kills. They have the Elder Dragon.
Stop the
Malrang's going to interrupt the back as well.
Only Elyoya in the base. Rogue. Only 1 wave to push in. Malrang continues to stop the ports. Good look for the stun here. I don't know if he's already used the Thundering Wall. The Elder not enough. The TP away. Comp just needs a bit of damage. Elyoya going in as well. Elyoya will be shut down. 12 seconds on Nisqy. No seconds for Mad Lions. You have to feel. All it took was 1 objective, and then they find the one that matters most. Rogue with their first win of summer.
I am shocked. Comp steals the Elder, and then Rogue wins the game. Wow, I know this meta, like, I've seen games won off of a single team fight before. I remember that game in the LCK, first blood at 35 minutes, but wow. The decisiveness at the very end there from Rogue to just say, TP mid, go in the game.
Yeah.
That was I'm gonna say that was a victory that MAD had. That was MAD's game to lose.
They controlled everything. Everything was theirs until that moment.
It was a near flawless game from MAD. They lost a single Elder and the game disappeared just like that. It's going to be a frustrating loss for MAD.
Huge win for Rogue in terms of just, like, as much as you can go home and you'd be like, perhaps we didn't deserve that win as much as we would like. Perhaps we just, because of the Elder Soul, we won the game. Picking up a win in the Super Week is big for them, because going 0-3, going into the week and being like, we have to change so much, is such a disheartening experience. For Rogue, of course, getting their first win of the split is huge. For MAD Lions, you look at it and like, well, we just flipped it. We flipped it and we lost the flip, I guess.
Well, I don't even think it was a flip. It got stolen by Ezreal. I mean, wow. Wow. I'm kind of gobsmacked as to how that game ended.
Your key player of the game posted to LEC on Twitter, Larssen comp or Trymbi.
I mean, it kind of has to be comp, right?
It has to be comp.
Yep.